Hello everyone, this is Dilip Kumar, working as Assistant Professor in Department of ECE from Annamacharya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Tirupati. So in this session, we are going to see the usage of Smith chart. Generally, we can use the Smith chart for the purpose of calculating reflection coefficient, input impedance, SWR values, even more. We can use this Smith chart to calculate the values of these parameters. So generally, in the previous session, there is a session which was conducted by me. That is the introduction to Smith chart. There you can see the detailed structure of the Smith chart, how it has been formed with the help of X circles and R circles. Main intention of the Smith chart is to reduce the complexity in finding the transmission line characteristics. That is the main goal, aim of the Smith chart. So in this session, in the previous session, it was discussed on only the Smith chart, how it has formed using the R and X circles. In this session, we are going to see how to use it. I mean, to identify the values of gamma, reflection coefficient, S, SWR, standing wave ratios, and Zin, input impedance of the values. So before moving to the usage, let us have a small recap of the Smith chart. So the Smith chart is shown on the right hand side of the screen. So here if you see, the Smith chart is represented with the superimpose of R and X circles. So if you see on the axis, so if please look into the pointer. So this is the x-axis of the Smith chart. So Smith chart x-axis shows gamma real axis. Okay, so it's, if you start from this portion, it starts from 0 and it ends at the value of infinity for the maximum resistance values. So this is the value of for the resistance R equal to 0, R equal to 0.1, that is the resistance value 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and it goes on infinity. For the infinite resistance value, your radius of this circle can become a point. Okay, so if you look into the circle shape of our circles will be like this. So maximum outer circle is for R equal to 0 circle, and this is the circle of R equal to 0.1. This is the R equal to 0.1 circle, and similarly R equal to 0.2 circle, R equal to 0.3 circle. So here the R circles is completely shown, full circle has shown R circles. In the similar manner, X circles also will be there. So X circles will start from X equal to 0 to maximum value in infinity. So here in the same manner, so X is can be represented both in terms of inductive as well capacitive, so that the positive, I mean upper half of the Smith chart, upper portion of the Smith chart is related to inductive part, that is X equal to plus values, and bottom portion of the Smith chart is related to capacitive part, reactance capacitive part, that is X equal to negative values. So here if you see, for R circles, full portion of the circle will be emerged here. For the X circles it is not the same. If for X circles the values are shown here, it starts from 0. On surrounding the circle, on the periphery of the circle, it shows the X values. So for X equal to 0 it starts from here, and X equal to 0.1, X equal to 0.2, please look onto the pointer. So where I am showing, it is 0 and 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 and 0.5. It goes on up to infinity. At the maximum portion of infinity it will be 0. That is your it becomes a point once again for X equal to infinity values. The same manner, the negatives up, I mean bottom portion of the Smith chart also having the same values with for the capacitor inductor, for the capacitive reactance values for negative values. So this is a minus 0.1, minus 0.2, minus 0.3, minus 0.4 and so on up to infinity values. So these are in the shape of only partial portion of the circles will be there. So I'll just have a notation of just any two random circles. Okay, so just to see here, if you see, I'll take an example of R equal to 2 circle. Okay, R equal to 2 circle. So this is the value This is the value of R equal to 2. Okay, 2.0 it is notated here. So R equal to 2 is this one. R equal to 2 circle is this one. Generally, impedance value can be written here Z equal to R plus JX. So this R value is here R equal to 2. So another X value also has to be considered. So let the X is 1. So now Z is equal to 2 plus J. So if you want to represent X equal to 1, so here it is a plus 1. It is a plus value. So it is a inductive value. So let us one you need to show onto the chart. So for that, I need to identify the X equal to 1. So it starts from 0, 0.1, it goes on 0 0.5, 6, 7, 8, and it is 1. This is the value of X equal to 1. This is X equal to 1. So this is the value of X. This is the value of X. So here the point of intersection of R circle and X circle is called Z value. That is an impedance value. Okay. So this is how you need to represent the value of X and R, that is the resistance values and X values, to identify the Z value onto the Smith chart. So along with this, we can able to identify the S values, that is S circles, standing wave ratio circles also can be identified. So it starts from S equal to, on the chart, it starts from S equal to 1 to infinity, it moves. Okay. So these values are notated on the gamma real axis, gamma axis, that is a gamma real path axis, that is a horizontal axis. So if it start from always from 1, so if you take it starting portion S equal to 1, this one. So let's take for S equal to 1.5, S equal to 1.5. So 1.5 you have to identify on the gamma real axis. So this is the value of 1.4, this is the value of 1.6. So in between you have the value of 1.5. So for that you need to draw a circle with the radius of your 1.5 circle. So with that it shows the value of this one. This is the circle of 1.5. Okay. So with this radius you have to consider the S circle. Okay. So take a compass and take the radius of from 1 to 1.5 and draw the circle, and this circle is called S circle. Okay. So this is called S circle. You have to take the radius of this portion using the compass and draw the circle surrounded by this, then it is equal to S circle. Okay. So this is about a brief identification of X and R values on the Smith chart. Next, so outer periphery is this one. Just to look into here. So there are 3 circles. Red one is almost equal to your protractor. There is a plus or minus 180 degrees in 2 different directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise. On top of the outer periphery of the protractor, there is a 2 circles. Those 2 are represents to, one is towards the load, one is towards the generator. So it moves in clockwise direction if you move from 0, and it is towards generator portion, and towards the load portion is this one is in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. One complete rotation of the one complete rotation on the Smith chart is equal to half wavelength travel. So 2 rotations complete equal to full wavelength travel on the Smith chart, that is lambda by 2 equal to one rotation, that is equal to 360 degrees. If you want to get a full wavelength on the Smith chart, you have to move 360 degrees. So on the left hand side point is P short circuit, right hand side point is P open circuit point. V maximum and V minimum values also, that is also represented. So next we will see how to calculate the values of reflection coefficient gamma and standing wave ratio S, and another value, that is input impedance, using the first. Before going to the Smith chart, let us have the manual calculation, how to proceed. So here the question is given here. So a 30-meter long, of course, this question has been taken from the textbook Sadiku, Elements of principles of electromagnetic, 6th edition has been taken. So even if you want, you can go through there. So similar kind of problems also you can identify. So in this session, I am my aim is to show how to use the Smith chart using this problem itself alone. So here a 30-meter long lossless transmission line with 50 ohms. This is the characteristic impedance. Characteristic impedance is one. So, and it is operating with the frequency of 2 megahertz. That is the frequency is given and characteristic impedance is given. And it is terminated with a load ZL equal to 60 plus J40. Here my resistance value is 60 and reactance value is 40. Its units is shown here. It has been go to the next line. If U equal to 0.6 C, so U is called velocity. C 0.6 C, 0.6 is multiplied with C. C is called velocity of the light here. That is 3 into 10 to the power 5 meters per second on the line. Then find the values of this. So values we need to find: reflection coefficient gamma and the SWR value S and input impedance Zin. So these values we need to identify using the manual method. Let us see how the manual method will be before going to the Smith chart method. Okay, so in manual method, if you want to proceed, the given values are characteristic impedance, and here your length is also given. L is given, Z0 is given, F is given, and ZL 60 load impedance is given. Okay, and velocity is also given. We need to identify one by one. So with respect to the previous sessions which was discussed, the formula reflection coefficient gamma can be written as ZL minus Z0 by ZL plus Z0. These are the values. And if you substitute both the values, that is ZL equal to 60 plus J40, 60 plus J40 plus 60 plus J40. Along with this, we have the term minus Z0, that is a 50. Here that is a plus 50. So you can get the value of 10 plus J40 divided by 110 plus J40. So the real terms will get added in the, is subtracted in the numerator. Real terms will get added in the denominator. So then this is the value we get. So this value, if you want to convert it into phasor form, so that can be do using your scientific calculators also, that can be done. So instead of that, if you want to do manually, that is also without using the calculator, you can take the magnitude of both the numerator and denominator and take the ratio. Then you will get, that is a root of a plus ib, that is a root of a square plus b square. Then you will get the magnitude value of the numerator. Similarly, you will get the magnitude value of the denominator. So then take the ratio of these values, then you will get the answer will be 0.3523. This is the value magnitude. And angle will be tan inverse of a by b for the numerator. Similarly for the denominator, as it is in the ratio, after taking the necessary values of the numerator and denominator, then you have to subtract to get the angle. So then you will get 56 degrees. Okay, so this is the gamma value. Then another value we need to find from the question is S, that is the standing wave ratio. It is represented with 1 plus gamma by 1 minus gamma. This is the formula. So if you substitute the value of gamma, that is in terms of phasor form, the 0.3523 divided by 1 minus 0.3523. This is the value. So if you take the necessary simplification for this term, then you will get the value 2.088. This is the value of the SWR. That is a expansion of SWR is the standing wave ratio for the transmission, given transmission line. So next value you need to identify is Zin. So Zin formula is, if you recap, Zin formula will be Zin equal to Z0 into Zin, sorry, it is a ZL is ZL plus J tan, sorry, so J Z0 ZL plus J Z0 into tan beta L divided by Z0 plus J ZL into tan beta L. This is the formula for input impedance for the given transmission line for the case of lossless. Initially, I forget to say that remember the condition that the given transmission is lossless transmission line. We can apply this input impedance equation only for the lossless case. If it is for a different transmission line, then input impedance value will be changed. Based on the problem in the question, we have to change the input impedance values. So there is some uneven representation. So let me write once again here. So that is a tan beta L. Okay, this is tan beta L. So in order to get these all values, we have to do some little more simplification. So velocity is given. We have the ratio with respect to beta, that is omega by beta, u equal to omega by beta. Or if you want to write in terms of beta, that is to be identified for this value, then it is beta equal to omega by u. So if you take the necessary substitution for this, that is along with this beta, we have the scaling factor inside the tan function, that is L. So then you have to multiply this value beta L, that equal to omega L by u. This is the value you'll get. So omega is equal to 2 pi f. So 2 pi, the given frequency is 2 into 10 to the power of 6, that is a given 2 megahertz is given frequency, that is also substituted. Along with this, L is given, that is also question. In the question it is given, L is the length of the transmission line, which is called 30-meter length is given. Then divided by velocity is 0.6 c. 6 c is nothing but velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, that is also substituted. Then final value we will get 2 pi by 3. So it is represented in terms of radians. Please don't substitute the value of pi in terms of 3.14, because the tan value, it is represented inside the function, the beta L is inside the function of tan. We have to take it as a only radian terms. This is 120 degrees. So after taking necessary substitutions here, then we will get the equation will be like this: 50 into, that is I am writing the 50, that is Z0 with the numerator term, 50 into that is a 60 plus J40 plus J50 into tan 120 degrees divided by 50 plus J into 60 plus J40, that is a load impedance is given. So that is substituting here. Then multiplied with tan 120 degrees. Okay. So ZL is here. I mean the ZL value which is shown here, it is substituted as it is value. So if we do a small simplification on this, then we will get the value like this: 50 into 6 plus J4 minus J5 root 3 divided by 5 plus 4 root 3 minus J6 root 3. This is the value we get. Then later simplification, it will get 24.1 angle is 3.22 degrees. So to represent in a polar form, phasor form to polar form, that is also possible. We can do using the calculator, or if you want to manual process also can be done. 23.97 plus J 1.35 ohms. It is a 1.35 ohms. 1.35 ohms. So this is the final value that we got for the question given. So for the different values of L equal to 30, Z0 equal to 50, 2 mega, and frequency and load impedance and velocity is given. For these different values, we have been identified the gamma value as a reflection coefficient, as a standing wave ratio, and input impedance also found. Okay, so the same parameters, let us see how can be followed, proceed for the Smith chart using the Smith chart. Okay, so in this, so try to recollect the parameters that are given in the question. The same parameters we will consider and these finding parameters are gamma, S, and input impedance that is to be found here using the given parameters. So the given parameters are, we can say given parameters are, that is L equal to 30 meters, ZL equal to 60 plus J for, that is a load impedance, and your characteristic impedance Z0 equal to 50 ohms, and your frequency is 2 megahertz, that is the given. So with this, we are going to proceed the values to find gamma S and Z in using the Smith chart. So for this, directly, actually we can, using the R value and X value, we can substitute just now in the, just a few minutes back, we have seen substitution of R and X values on the chart, and intersecting of those two values get the Z value. Directly, the substitution of Z value onto the chart is completely wrong. It is a wrong assumption. So whatever the given value is not a normalized value. If you review the session which was discussed in the previous session, that is on introduction to Smith chart, there we can see the given impedance value is first we need to convert into normalized impedance value. So in this, you need to use the same procedure, that is the given load impedance has to be converted into normalized load impedance, small zl equal to zl by z0 has to be done. So if we substitute both the values, that is a 60 plus j40 divided by 50 ohms, then we will get the value of 1.2 plus j0.8. This is the actual value, load impedance value, normalized value, that is to be substituted on the Smith chart. That is the value to be substituted on the Smith chart. So at any cost, don't forget to convert your load impedance value into normalized impedance value. So from this, we have the value of R is 1.2 and X is 0.8. And obviously from this equation, we can say that X is a positive and it is a inductive nature. So we can directly point out the value of R equal to 1.2, that is R values are represented on gamma axis that already I mentioned. So it is a, this is the center value one, it is a 1.2. So this is the value of R circle. This is the value of R circle. So let me draw the R circle here. So on pointing, I mean, you have to draw on top of the 1.2 circle. Okay, that is equal to R circle. That is a given value. That is a calculated value from the normalized. This is the R value. Okay, then X equal to 0.8. You need to identify the value. You have to move on top of the periphery of the circle. You have to move 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. This is the value 0.8. So you have to take it drawn towards the right hand side gamma value that you need to point out. So if we take the correct manner position, so we can draw properly. I'm unable to get the correct shape here. So try to consider this. This is the 0.8 X circle. Let me draw last finally. Yes, this is a 0.8. So whatever the intersection point of your R and X circle denotes the ZL, that is normalized value. Okay. So here, this is the normalized value. From the Smith chart, I can make this point as P. Okay, can make this point as P, and wherever the center point of the Smith chart, I can denote as O. Okay, I can denote as O. Then I need to join, I will join these 2 points, that is O and P. I will join. Okay, O and P I will join. Then I can get the value that is uh, to get the angle. Okay, that is we need to find, the first question is the reflection coefficient. For that we need to do some steps, that is you need to take the center value O and the center of the Smith chart O, and the intersect point of your R and X circle is P. So I will extend this O and P towards the outer periphery of the Smith chart, outer periphery of the Smith chart. This is the outer periphery. Now, if you look into this, the angle made here, okay, the angle made here with the real part of axis, the angle made here, real part of axis is equal to 56 degrees. Even without the protractor also we can able to identify. So this is the 50 degrees and this is the 60 degrees. So in between somewhere it is a 56. So I am writing exactly 56 is because with respect to the reference of the textbook, and I am taking this value. Okay, so here because I am unable to use the protractor on the screen, but I can use the exact notation by extending the line OP to the last value point, that is Q. Okay, so using this value I can able to identify the exact value 56 degrees. Now to get the value of gamma, you need to take, this is the gamma reflection coefficient that is to be identified. Gamma equal to, you need to write OP by OQ. Ratio you need to consider. So if you measure these two values using the normal scale, we can get the value 3.1 centimeters OP. This is this line, OP line. Then OQ line is 8.8 centimeters. So which can give the value of 0.35 by taking this ratio. Okay, this is the OP line. This is, sorry, it's a OQ. OQ line is this one. Okay, so then in followed by the angle theta is also is been identified, that is a theta gamma equal to 56 degrees. So if you compare the values which was calculated in the previous slide with the manual method, it is exactly same with the normal method. Now this phasor term can be converted into polar form, that is also can be calculated 0.19 plus 0.29 J. This is the reflection coefficient value using the Smith chart. So it's a very simple method that we are not at all substituting the load, I mean ZL minus Z0 by ZL plus Z0 for the normal manual method. You have to do subtraction, addition, those things are all not at all to do here. It is a very simple method just to point the value of X and R by dividing the normalized impedance. Yes, you will get the value of gamma easily. Now first question, that is gamma has been identified. Then next we need to do calculate the value of S. Okay, so for that just very simply it is easily to get. So you have to draw the circle with the radius OP. Okay, you have to draw the circle with the radius OP and center O. Okay, draw the circle. So you need an instrument, a compass is required for this. For this you require a compass. So take the compass and take the radius of OP, take the radius of OP, and when you have to make a center O, then you can get a constant S circle. Okay, locate point S where the S, okay, locate point S where the S is going to be meet the gamma R axis. Okay, so this is the gamma real axis. So this is gamma imaginary axis. This is gamma real part axis. So you have to take this radius and make the center O, and you have to draw the circle. You have to draw the circle. Okay, you have to draw a circle. So wherever your circle meets on the gamma real axis, this point is S value. So here it is a 2 and it is a 3, in between it is a 2.1. So actually this is a 2.1. Sorry, it is a met at 2 point, it is a, so how many 5 divisions are there? So it is a met at the value of a 2.2 or 2.1. I'll take it as a 2.1. Okay, now just by simple measurement, taking the circle of OP, I have drawn the circle. Wherever it meets on the gamma real axis, that value is called S value. So now from this I can get easily the S value by taking this measurement. So now S equal to 2.1. That's it. Easily we can get. I mean, this S value is from the Smith chart. If you say S is equal to R, that is, these are resistance values, S equal to R, and it is obviously for the value of R greater than or equal to 1. Always we need to consider S value from this portion of 1 to maximum value infinity. Okay. Now, the last parameter we need to identify, that is input impedance. For this, we need to do a little bit process. This is also simple. So to obtain the input impedance, first express the term L. Okay, express L in terms of lambda. Actually, L is equal to 30 meters, that is given. L is you need to mention in terms of lambda you need to take. So for that, let us calculate the value of lambda first. So that is the wavelength we need to calculate. So lambda equal to U by F, that is also known for us, and U equal to 0.6 C. So that is also given, U is given here, 0.6 into 3 into 10 to the power of 8 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of 6 megahertz. 10 to 2 megahertz, that is equal to 90 meters. So if you take the comparison of L and lambda, so L equal to 30 meters and lambda equal to 90 meters. So the ratio is in the 3 times ratio is there between L and lambda. That is lambda equal to 3L. That is, if you take the 3 times the transmission line, that should be equal to a wavelength. Actually, the transmission line length is 30 meters. Even the entire wave lambda cannot able to cannot able to assemble inside the, I mean, cannot able to withstand inside the entire wave, cannot be enter into the transmission line at a time is not possible, because it is a very 3 times lesser when compared to wavelength. The length of the transmission line is 3 times lesser when compared to wavelength. So here, so this is the ratio is given. So or if you want to write in terms of L, that is L equal to lambda by 3. So complete wave is, I'll draw the transmission line. So transmission line length is 30 meters. Okay. So your wave is 90 meters, that is a lambda equal to 90 meters. So wavelength is greater than transmission line. The entire wave cannot able to place at a time inside the transmission line. That is the observation between L and lambda. So here, so from the Smith chart general notation, so we can know one complete rotation of the Smith chart, which can be equal to 360 degrees, that is equal to half wavelength. So here lambda is a full wavelength. So to get the full wavelength, we need to rotate 2 rotations, which is equal to 720 degrees divided by 3 here. So that should be equal to 240 degrees. 240 degrees. Now, since lambda corresponds to an angular moment of 720 degrees, I mean the statement I am representing once again, how to get the 240. Lambda corresponds to angular moment of 720 degrees on the chart. The length of the line corresponds to an angular moment of 240 degrees. Okay. That is, move towards the generator. As we are calculating the value input impedance, that will be located at the input side. Input impedance will be here, load impedance will be other end. Okay, that is the load side. Now to get the load, I mean, if you want this, there is a 2 directions will be represented on the chart. If you move clockwise direction, this is towards generator. If you move anti-clockwise direction, this is towards load side. So as you need to calculate the input impedance, you need to move towards clockwise direction. So you need to move towards generator or the other way, away from the, I mean towards generator or away from the load in the clockwise direction, that is of around 240 degrees on the S circle. On the S circle you need to move from point P. Okay, so from this point, let me take other color to represent very clearly. Okay, so you need to take this point, at this point from point P you need to move on the S circle with how many degrees? So let me take one reference line so that you can able to understand. So this is a reference opposite line of OP. Okay, this is the opposite reference line. Just only for the reference case, I have drawn this blue line. There is no reason for that. Now I need to move the point P. Okay, and also I need to move along the S circle from point P towards the generator side. That is a clockwise direction with how many degrees? 240 degrees. So here, if you move along this one, so I have drawn this line because to know how many degrees that we covered. So if I move along the circle, so it is exactly opposite nature, which is covered by 180 degrees. Covered 180 degrees. So out of 240 degrees, 180 has covered. Still, I need to move 60 degrees. Okay, 60 degrees. So till 60 degrees in the sense to still to some more extent, I need to move. So here, if I roughly I can see. So here, if you see, so this is a 56 degrees is here, 56, and here it is. If you take roughly, or by default without taking this reference line also we can easily take. Let us have that instead of this complexity. Okay, that this angle is alone 56, right? Angle is 56. Next, bottom portion alone is how much? 180 degrees, right? Bottom portion is alone. So here if you see this from point P you need to move, right? So this blue line on the circle is to find the value of input impedance that we are moving. So this up to this portion, if you move this 56 up to this portion, this up to this portion 56 degrees were covered, right? 56 degrees covered. Now here this portion alone, how many degrees? This portion alone 180 degrees. Okay, so 180 plus 56, that is also to be considered. So finally how many degrees now? 236 degrees are covered. So total how many we need to move? 240 degrees. So from this point you have to move 240 degrees towards the generator side. So still 4 more degrees I need to move. This is the 180. So 180, 180, 179, 178, 177, 176. This is the value 176. So I need to take this value. I need to take this value and join from this portion to the value of center. Now, if I get this value, this angle is called total value. This angle is the total value. It's total value with how much? 240 degrees. Okay. From the reference, from the point P, you need to move along the S circle till how many degrees? 240 degrees from the calculation of the relation between wavelength and length of the transmission line we have been moved. Now this point is called your Z-in impedance value. So this value is shown here. From this you need to identify the value. Let me draw in a simple, it is a very, let's look to be good. So here this two, at this point you need to identify the values X and R and X values. So at this point, if you see, this is the 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So it is somewhere near the value of your point. Actually, the circle is not in a good manner. So you will get the exact value if you take the real measurements of scale. Then you will get the value of R is equal to so R value with respect to this, that is if you take this value, the R value which is locating on the real part of axis, that is you will get Z in small z. So whatever the value you are substituting or getting, it should be normalized. So small z in equal to 0.47, 0.47. So on to get the x values, you need to move on to the periphery. So this is the point I got. This is the point I got. So this is the 0.1. This is in between 0.0 some value. So plus j 0. It is 0.04 or 56, 0.06. This is the x value. This is x value. This is R value. So adding of both to get the value of normalized impedance. So final input impedance, how to get? You need to convert it into normal value by multiplying characteristic impedance once again. We need to multiply with characteristic impedance. Then it is 50 ohms multiplied with 0.47 plus j 0.06. So your final Z in impedance will be Z in equal to 23.5 plus j 1.75 ohms. So these are the three different values. That is gamma is identified reflection coefficient, S value is identified 2.1, and input impedance also identified with using the Smith chart. This is the procedure that we need to follow here. Okay. So in the next slide, let us see the same graph from the textbook. It has been considered. So first you need to put the normalized input impedance, normalized load impedance. Normalized load impedance has to be substituted. With the reference of OP, you have to extend to the point of outer periphery Q to get the angle of gamma, theta gamma. Then the measurement of ratio OP by OQ to get the value of gamma. Then you can change it into a polar form. You will get the value of gamma equal to 0.195 plus 0.29 J. The next step, to calculate the S value, take the radius of OP and draw the circle. Okay, draw the circle. Then you will get the wherever the point of the circle meets the gamma real axis, that point is your S value. That is the second step. Then third parameter you need to identify input impedance. So input impedance is to be identified. First you need to compare your wavelength with respect to transmission line. So from the question, the previous problem, I mean in the previous slide it is shown transmission length line length is 30 meters. So your wavelength is 720 degrees with respect to this chart. So if you take the comparison of lambda and your L, it is of the ratio lambda equal to 3L or L equal to lambda by 3. So in that ratio, if you take your lambda is exactly with respect to transmission line, it is of around L is around 240 degrees. So from point P, you have to move around 240 degrees. You need to move around 240 degrees. So on the S circle, along with from point P, you have to move 240 degrees, and you need to notate a point G. Okay, so by taking the extension of from the outer periphery to center point origin, you draw a line. Then at point G, you need to identify the values of R and X. So whatever the values at point G, you got R and X, these are normalized values. So to get the actual values, you need to multiply with the characteristic impedance. The given characteristic impedance is 50 ohms. Then you will get the value Z in equal to 23.5 plus J 1.75 ohms. So you need to move from point P towards generator side because you are calculating the value of input impedance. Okay. So if you want to calculate the, load impedance, you need to move anti-clockwise directions. Thank you.